Welcome to Module 7 of our Foundation course on PRINCE2. In this session, we'll discuss another key PRINCE2 theme, which is plans. Now, the purpose of the plans theme is to facilitate communication and control by defining the means of delivering products. Effective project management relies on effective planning, because without a plan, there's no control. Now, in plan, we address the following questions. What is required? How will it be achieved? By whom? What specialist equipment and resources are used? When events will happen? And are the targets achievable in terms of time, cost, quality, scope, and risk? The development and maintenance of credible plans provide a baseline against which progress can be measured. This closely links the plans and quality themes together. The very act of planning helps the project management team to think ahead, to basically mentally rehearse the project. The plans theme provides a framework to design, develop, and maintain the project's various plans, such as the project plan, stage plans, team plans, and exception plans. A PRINCE2 plan is a document that represents how, when, and by whom targets need to be achieved. These targets include products to be created, timescales, cost, quality criteria to be adhered to, and the benefits that the project is expected to offer. A plan enables comparison of actual achievement against what was originally planned. It's important to note that plans need to be kept in sync with the business case and needs to be approved by relevant levels of the project management team before it can be executed. Poorly planned projects can cause frustration, waste, and rework. It's therefore essential to allocate sufficient time for planning. Okay, now we'll discuss the key types of plans. PRINCE2 primarily has 5 types of plans, which are project plan, stage plan, team plan, exception plan, and the benefits review plan. Let's now consider who creates each plan and when they create it. The project plan is created by the project manager during the initiating a project process. Individual stage plans are created by the project manager at the end of each stage in anticipation of the next using the managing a stage boundary process. However, the stage plan for the initiation stage is created in the starting up a project process. The exception plans are created by the project manager during the managing a stage boundary process only when there's a breach of stage or project tolerances or in anticipation of a forecasted tolerance deviation. Team plans are created by the team manager or managers during the managing product delivery process after they receive the work packages from the project manager. Team plans are optional. The benefits review plan formalizes reviewing the benefits of the project and is created by the project manager during the initiating a project process. PRINCE2 has 3 planning levels that reflect the needs of different levels of management involved in the project, stage, and team levels. The project plan level reflects the management needs of the project board. The stage plan level reflects the needs of the project manager, and the team plan level those of the team manager. So why are there 3 levels of plan in PRINCE2? Let's understand this with the help of an example. Consider a project that's going to run over a period of 1 year. From the start, can you plan out all the project details of what's going to happen in each month for the 1-year project? A better approach would be to create a high-level project plan outlining the various management stages of the project and defining the objectives of each stage. As each stage is approached, a stage plan is developed with the details necessary to complete just that stage. When the work packages for the stage are distributed, team plans are made. Hence, planning should be done only to a level of detail that is manageable and foreseeable, that is, within a sensible planning horizon. Now, let's explore the levels of plan in more detail. The first level is the project plan. The project plan provides the business case with planned project costs and timescales, and identifies the major control points such as management stages and milestones. It's used by the project board as a baseline to monitor project progress stage by stage. The second level is the stage plan. A stage plan is required for each management stage. It's similar to a project plan in content, but each element will be broken down to the level of detail required as an adequate basis for day-to-day control by the project manager. Each stage plan for the next management stage is produced near the end of the current management stage. The third level is the team plan. The team plan is produced by a team manager to facilitate the execution of one or more work packages. The need and the number of work packages are determined by the size and complexity of the project. PRINCE2 does not prescribe any particular format or composition for the team plan. PRINCE2 has another type of plan called an exception plan. The exception plan is prepared for the appropriate management level to show the actions required to recover from the effects of a tolerance deviation. If approved, the exception plan will replace the plan that is an exception, and that will become the new baseline project plan or current stage plan as appropriate. Approval must be sought at the appropriate level. The project board needs to approve if the stage plan has to be replaced, whereas the replacement of the project plan caused by project level tolerance deviation must be approved by corporate or program management. An exception plan is prepared to the same level of detail as the plan it replaces. Should a team manager forecast that the assigned work packages may exceed tolerances, he should notify the project manager by raising an issue. If the issue relating to the work package can be resolved within stage tolerances, then the project manager may take a corrective action by updating the work package or by issuing a new work package or packages and instructing the team manager or managers accordingly. The composition of a plan generally includes a few key elements. Let's discuss these one by one. We'll begin with what a plan description is. A plan description briefly covers what the plan encompasses and the approach that it will follow. Assume that you're presenting a stage plan to a certain audience. The objective of the plan description section is to give a short summary of what the plan includes and the products that will be developed as part of that stage. The next key component is the plan prerequisites. Plan prerequisites contain any fundamental aspects that must be in place and that should remain in place for the plan to succeed. Consider that you're managing a project to hold a conference that consists of 2 stages. The first stage involves making necessary arrangements for the conference, such as finalizing the venue, the speakers, and the logistics. The second stage involves holding the actual conference. Hence, finalizing the venue and the speakers are prerequisites to holding the actual conference. Now let's look at the external dependencies of a plan. External dependencies are those products or services created outside the scope of the plan but are required to create one or more of the project's products. External dependencies can often influence a plan when they introduce constraints in time and resources. Using the same conference project example, if you were to use any promotional material from a previous conference project to design collaterals for the current project, the promotional materials from the previous project would be treated as an external dependency. Planning assumptions are accepted realities upon which the plan is based. These are the assumptions that should hold true for the execution of a plan and should ensure the success of the plan. If any of the assumptions are not met, that can have an adverse impact on the success of the overall plan. Let's now have a look at the Lessons Incorporated component. Lessons Incorporated presents the relevant lessons learned from previous similar projects, which have been reviewed and accommodated within this plan. Now, this section covers any changes made to the current plan in order to incorporate lessons from previous projects. Another important component is monitoring and control. It provides detail on how the plan should be monitored and controlled. For instance, the reporting arrangements for the duration of the plan. Now, let's take a look at budgets. Budgets cover time and cost, including provisions for risks and changes. For example, the budget section of a project plan will contain the project costs, the time scale for the entire project, and the risks and change budgets allocated for the project. Tolerances delineate the time, cost, and scope tolerances for the level of plan, which may also include more specific stage and team level tolerances. Now, we've got product descriptions. Product descriptions cover the products within the scope of each plan level. For the project plan, it would include the project's product or set of products. For the stage plan, it would include the stage products, and for the team plan, it would include a reference to the work package assigned. Importantly, product level quality tolerances will be defined in each product description. A plan also includes the schedule. It may include graphical representations such as a Gantt chart or bar chart, product breakdown structure, product flow diagram, activity network, table of resource requirement type, and table of requested or assigned specific resources by name. Let's now study the PRINCE2 approach to planning. The philosophy behind formulating plans in PRINCE2 is that the products required are identified first, and only then are the activities, dependencies, and resources required to deliver those products identified. This is known as product-based planning and is used for the project plan, the stage plan, and the optional team plan. For example, in a project involving building a house, the project's product, that is the house and its associated products, which might include pillars, walls, flooring, and paint, are identified first. And then the resources, like architectural design, raw materials, and labor, and the activities to be carried out to complete the products are identified and planned for. Here, we can go through the steps in the planning process. The first step is designing the plan. Decisions need to be made about how the plan can be best presented, who the audience of the plan is going to be, what the presentation and layout will be, what tools would be used to create the plan, and the levels of plan and the kind of monitoring methods to be used for the project would be. This would be the starting point for designing any level of plan. The second step is to define and analyze the products. Within this step, there are 4 sub-steps that form the product-based planning technique. These steps in sequence are writing the project product description, creating the product breakdown structure, writing product descriptions, and creating the product flow diagram. Let's begin with the first step, project product description. This needs to be written as soon as the need for the project's product is identified. The project's product description is written by the project manager in consultation with the senior user and executive. For example, a project's product could be training. The purpose of this product is to impart training and enable the delegates to be certified. Some of the major products associated with it are training venue, the delegates, trainer, courseware, and training logistics. Other sections of the project product description are derivation, development skills required, customers' quality expectations, acceptance criteria, and project-level quality tolerances, acceptance method, and acceptance responsibilities. The next step is to create the product breakdown structure, which is a hierarchy of all the products to be produced during a plan. In this step, the plan is broken down into its major products, which are then further broken down until an appropriate level of detail for the plan is reached. When creating a product breakdown structure, people representing different interests and possessing various skill sets involved in the creation of the plan's output identify products by running a structured brainstorming session and by discussing the way in which the products can be broken down. The project management team must reach a consensus on the approach to be undertaken to create the product breakdown structure. It's useful to identify any external products required by the plan. If the project is broken down into several stages, the products for each stage are extracted from the project breakdown structure to form the stage product breakdown structure. For example, a mobile phone will have components such as a circuit board, antenna, LCD screen, keyboard, microphone, speaker, battery, and an operating system. When the product breakdown structure of the phone is created, all these components will be shown. The components of the mobile phone can further be broken down into smaller components. While creating the product breakdown structure, it's necessary to also show external products. External products are products that already exist or that are being created outside the scope of the plan, but that are required to create one or more of the plan's products. In the mobile phone example, if ready-made batteries for the phone are being procured as part of a separate project and also used in the cell phone project for its assembly, the batteries would be considered the external products. The project manager is not accountable for the external products. For each external product, there should be a corresponding entry on the risk register, since it may have an impact on the plan and in turn affect the project. The next step is to write the product descriptions. These are written for the components identified in the product breakdown structure. It should be remembered that only high-level product descriptions are written in the initiating a project process. In this process, more detailed product descriptions are written. Product descriptions for products falling in the category of major products may be written in the stage immediately preceding the stage of their creation. In writing each product description, it's wise to involve representatives with expertise in each product. The next stage is to create the product flow diagram. A flow diagram is needed to identify and define the dependencies between products. Each product to be developed within the plan in question is identified, and the sequence in which it's to be created is shown. Any products that already exist or that fall outside the scope of the plan should be clearly identified as external products. The third step is to identify activities and dependencies. The activities required for creating or changing each of the planned products needs to be identified to give a fuller picture of the plan workload. There are several ways to identify activities. One such approach is taking the products from the product breakdown structure and creating a work breakdown structure to define the activities required. The activities should include management and quality checking activities. Also, any dependencies between activities should be identified. The two types of dependencies are internal and external dependencies. For example, consider that a project of building a house may have many activities, such as laying the foundation, installing pillars, building walls and the roof, and then creating doors in that sequence. Now these activities will have dependencies. For instance, raising pillars is dependent on the foundation being laid, and building walls is dependent on pillars being installed, painting is dependent on the plumbing being completed, and so on. The next step is to prepare estimates. A decision about how much time and resources are required to carry out a piece of work to accomplish standards of performance must be made by identifying the type of resource required and estimating the effort required for each activity by resource type. There are some basic rules for estimating. Assume that resources will only be productive for, say, 80% of their time. Also, remember that people are generally optimistic and often underestimate the time that a project will take them to complete. It's important to make use of other people's experiences and your own, and ensure that the person responsible for creating the product is also responsible for creating the effort estimates. Some examples of estimating techniques include top-down estimating, bottom-up estimating, top-down and bottom-up approach, and comparative estimating. The fifth step is to prepare the schedule. This step involves defining the activity sequence, which is an iterative task. The amount of time for which an activity can be delayed without affecting the completion time of the overall plan is known as the float or slack. Float can be regarded as either a provision within the plan or as spare time. The critical path or paths through the diagram is the sequence of activities that have zero float. The next activity is to assign resources. Resource availability and information from the activity sequence allows the project manager to assign resources to activities. A useful approach is to allocate resources to those activities with zero slack first. It's important that task owners be defined. The next activity is to level resource usage. The first allocation of resources may lead to uneven resource usage or overutilization of some resources. It may therefore be necessary to rearrange resources. This is called leveling. Then, milestones can be defined. In a commercial environment, reaching a milestone may trigger a payment to a supplier. There should be far fewer milestones than deliverables or work packages, but there should be enough milestones at major intervals to gauge whether or not the plan is proceeding as expected. Defining milestones should be followed by calculating total resource requirements and costs. The budget should include the costs of the activities to develop and verify the specialist products, the cost of project management activities, the risk budget, change budget, and cost tolerances of the plan. The last step is to present the schedule. A schedule is best presented in graphical form. It can be in the form of a Gantt chart, which is a graphical representation of the duration of tasks against the progress of time, or in the form of a critical path diagram, which highlights those tasks that cannot be delayed without causing the plan to be delayed. A sixth step is to analyze the risk, which should actually be done as part of all the other steps in this process. During schedule preparation, all identified risks should be entered in the risk register. A seventh and final step in the planning process is to document the plan. Having completed the schedule satisfactorily, the plan, its costs, the required controls, and its supporting text need to be consolidated in accordance with the plan design. It's necessary to keep plans as simple as appropriate. This brings us to the end of Module 7 on PRINCE2's Plans theme. I look forward to seeing you in the next module.